Hi everybody, it's me Willow and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're here with another fun video for all of you guys to enjoy, and we are going to be discussing my final predictions for the 2026 Oscars. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it has finally come to this, my final predictions. It feels like it was just September and I was doing my pre-fall festival predictions right before I went off to TIFF. And then I did some in October and November and December, January and February. And now we're here in March and we are only a couple days away from the Oscars. It's Wednesday night when I'm locking in these predictions. And I say locking in as if I may not change one or two of these things a couple days before, but these are, I would say, like 90% locked in, and I might change one or two things depending on how it goes in the next couple days. But I feel like this is just such a crazy season. Like, so much has happened with a lot of our acting and everything with the campaigns this year and the different studios like Neon having all these different foreign language films, and it's just been a chaotic season, but I love that. It seemed like it was going to be very straightforward from a certain point, kind of like after Golden Globes seemed like, oh, this is going to be such a straightforward year, but things changed up, and I love when things kind of turn on its head and we don't know what to expect from the season. So I am excited to be finishing up with the season, if I am being honest, because it has been a very, very long season as I've been following since like last January, like January 2025 from Sundance and specifically like Berlin in February, and just very intense. And now we're finally finishing this up, and then I'll move on to the new festival season 2026, 2027 festival season, 2027 Oscar predictions. Woo! Will I do some early Oscar predictions? I might do that. And yeah, I'm just excited, and lots of blockbusters are going to be coming out in the next couple months as well. So I'm excited for a new batch of movies, but I do think these are some incredible films. So I do want to give my final predictions before the Academy gives us our answers of what is the top picks from 2025, 2026. So why don't we dive into the shorts categories? I would suggest you guys go check out my whole shorts category prediction video. I will put it in the corners for you guys to find. I did make this all in depth and go in each category, talked one by one each short with you guys. So really suggest you guys check that video out. But in short, pun, you guys. Live action short. I do have two people exchanging saliva. Still in first place, though. I have been hearing a lot of people thinking A Friend of Dorothy might be able to squeeze into the winning slot just with its notoriety of its actors and also just being a happy theme, whereas all the other themes besides like Jane's period drama, they are a little bit more serious. But I do think Two People Exchanging Saliva does have the most theatrical and feature film level to it, and I do think the actors are still pretty notable in the film. And I just think it's such a dynamic and interesting plot line, very like dimensional, and I do love the romance in it as well. So I'm going to keep Two People Exchanging Saliva, and I'm going to keep my order as well with like the singers, Butcher Stain. But who knows? Like A Friend of Dorothy's, if they say that, I won't be like too surprised. I will be a little disappointed just because I do think Two People Exchanging Saliva is the best short out of all of these and deserves to be a winner. And for animated short, I'm going to keep The Girl Who Cried Pearls just because I do love that Canada is representing. I also think it's my personal favorite, so I do have a little bit of a bias there, being Canadian, and that is my favorite. But I do love the animation. I do think the storyline is also very intriguing, though I would agree the end is a little bit. It kind of like falls short just a little bit. And I do think Butterfly is a really great competitor. I do have Butterfly in my second spot. And I do like this like could be one I might move because a lot of people are predicting Butterfly, but a lot of people are predicting The Girl Who Cried Pearls. But then I've been hearing a lot of people who have said they really like Retirement Plan. And I feel like Retirement Plan is short and sweet. It's in English, which has been a big bias in the past with the short categories, but I do believe everybody's supposed to watch every single nominee. Like if so they can vote. I believe this is a new rule in the last like year or two, and like in the past it was just the best pictures you had to watch, but now if you want to be able to vote you have to watch every single nominee. Like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I feel like, who knows, maybe people will really like Retirement Plan. We do have Donald Gleason narrating it, notable actor. So I do think animated short is such a hard category because, again, Forever Green, I feel like there's also some notable points with that, as it is in, like, it's basically silent animation, just no dialogue, and that has been a bias to help it win in the past if it's in English or has no dialogue. And it is short and sweet. Animation is really cute. It does have kind of like a wholesome story to it, and there is a religious aspect for some of those more religious Academy voters. So I find this one so difficult, honestly, but I'm gonna keep with The Girl Who Cried Pearls and Butterfly in a close second place. And for documentary short, I have All the Empty Rooms in first place. I do think this is going to be the winner. People have been basically unanimously saying this one will probably be the winner. Though my favorite is The Devil is Busy, and I'd be very happy if that one won because I do think it does a really great job of investigating this post Roe v. World. And I also think, like, following the security and the doctors and the call help center people are very unique rather than just following the patients. So again, I find this one a little tough as well because I do think Armed Only with a Camera, The Life and Death of Brett Renaud, is also a very strong documentary, just with like the notoriety of Brett. And I'm sure there's a lot of his friends and notable people who would definitely vote for this. And Ukraine Russian war is also a very like prominent narrative and political piece that people do heavily lean towards when voting, but I still am going to lock in All the Empty Rooms. So that's what I think for the animated and the documentary and the live action short. But go check out my full video if you guys want some more details about the shorts. Go check it out because I do think there's notable pieces for all the different shorts, and the shorts get you 3 extra points if you guys are able to win them. So don't forget the shorts. For our best original song, this one is easy. It's going to be Golden, hands down. I feel like I don't even have to discuss it. I do want to say I did watch the Diane Warren Relentless documentary and I loved it, and I feel bad that she's not going to win once again this year when she's tried so hard 17 times. But it's going to go to Golden, definitely. And again, an easy one. Best score is probably, I would say, like 95% going to go to Sinners. Ludwig Göransson, I believe he's won everything up to this, and he's just great. He's won for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and then he also won for Oppenheimer, and people are just throwing around. He's the next John Williams, he's the next Hans Zimmer. So I think winning his third Oscar for Sinners, woo, let's go Ludwig. I think score is locked down. And I also think sound is pretty locked in as well with F1. I did rewatch this just the other day, and I don't love the movie, but the sound design is pretty fantastic with those F1 cars on the racetrack. It sounds pretty fantastic. So, am I going to be disappointed if Surratt doesn't take this home? Yes, I really secretly, passionately hope Surratt is going to take this home, but I do think F1 will probably get it. I think it's kind of an easy, not necessarily easy because the sound design is great, but compared to Surratt. I just love Surratt. I just think Surratt's sound design is so magnetic, and it would be like the Zone of Interest winning, you know? So I really want Surratt to win, but I definitely think F1's probably going to take it home. And I feel like even Sinners is in second place over Surratt, but my fingers are still crossed that they're going to say Surratt on Oscar night. And for best visual effects, again, easy in my opinion. I think it's probably going to go to Avatar Fire and Ash. Did watch this just yesterday, finally finished it, and I really regret not being able to see it in the theater. I really wanted to. It was just so hard for me to fit in the over 3 hour movie into my schedule. Honestly, I should have tried to prioritize it more because I just watched it and it just doesn't give it the justice, you know, when you watch it on your computer or watch it on your flat screen. It's not the same as seeing it on like the IMAX screen that James Cameron wanted you to see, and I definitely think it kind of ruined part of my enjoyment that I was watching it on such a smaller screen compared to what this grand scale, like epic war colonization film is. So I do think the animation, visual effects, all the different motion capture design that they're able to translate into this world of Pandora and the ash people and the water people, all of this is pretty fantastic, and I do think they will probably still win. I do have F1 in second place and the Lost Bus in third place, just because I do think their visual effects are also pretty strong, and I think F1 would probably take it over Avatar if it wasn't Avatar, but I still am going to say Avatar is going to take it home because I do think it is the strongest and it gives us the most dynamic film out of all of these, and it is solely basically focusing on this motion capture visual effects work, basically bringing us some, you know, world history dynamic transformational visual effects, you know, that had never been seen before. Like James Cameron and his team are transforming this over the years of them filming The Way of Water and Fire and Ash and putting it together. So I do think they are deserving of this win. So that's why I have them winning. Okay, another three easy wins for production design, costume design, hair and makeup. I have Frankenstein taking all of these home. They have been clean sweeping them at all of the festivals and all of the award ceremonies. So I think it's a shoe-in that production design is definitely going to go to Frankenstein, which I am not disappointed because I do think it's incredible what they were able to accomplish in that film, like specifically with the ship and building that on the Pinewood Studio lot in Toronto. Pretty epic, and all the different ice sculptures as well, like the icebergs, and they built a lot of different sets as well, and they like I think they found some sets as well. Like a lot of it was built on Pinewood Studios. So very, very exciting for them. I would say Sinners is probably second, but I have One Battle After Another. This is from January. I didn't update this, but I would honestly move One Battle After Another into like third place because I love the production design in One Battle After Another. I think it's pretty strong with all the different locations and like with the rooftop scenes. I think that's a really interesting production design scene as well. So I don't think I think it's going to be Frankenstein, but I do think One Battle After Another and Sinners are very notable. I do think Marty Supreme is notable too. It does have some very interesting cinematography with the production design and in the New York landscapes and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of working together as one to kind of bring this New York energy. So it's hard. It's obviously going to Frankenstein, but all of these films are very notable. And same with costume design. It's obviously going to go to Frankenstein. Has such a relation with the narrative. A lot of these different costumes, specifically Elizabeth's with Mia Goth. So it's going to go to Frankenstein. Makeup and hairstyling. Finally got to see The Ugly Stepsister. And the one film I have left to watch, I'm going to watch it right after this, is Kyoko. So I have not seen that, but I've seen every other nominated film, so I have to watch Kyoko tonight. But honestly, like I don't know, I haven't seen the film yet, so I had it over Ugly Stepsister just because Ugly Stepsister is like body horror, a lot of it. But I feel like the father, like like decaying away with all the different like maggots on him, like such great makeup. And I think the hairstyling specifically with Elvira, I love her little ringlets, I and how she transforms like with like the wig and stuff later. Really, really cool. And how they're like transform her nose and her teeth and everything, and how it deteriorates at the end. So fantastic. I love the Ugly Stepsister. And I know that makeup and hairstyling in Frankenstein was literally the creature design, so that's what they're really awarding it to. And I do think the wigs with like Mia Goth are really notable as well. And we have like Christoph Waltz's death as well. I think that with his skull, like that makeup when Victor pulls his head off the floor, like that's pretty good too. So I do like, I'm not going to say Frankenstein doesn't have some incredible makeup and hairstyling with the creature being discovered, and being transformed over time as well, kind of seeing his hair grow and him kind of grow into his features. But Ugly Stepsister, my passion win, definitely. So Frankenstein for all of these three categories, I do believe is a lock. All right, here it comes to be a little bit more difficult, but I would say One Bell After Another is probably going to take best editing home. Again, like that rooftop scene, I think is a great editing scene. I think the music plays hand in hand in the editing as well in One Bell After Another. I think the whole like scene with them going over the mountains, great, so edited like perfectly with the three different cars, going back and forth between Leo and then one of the Santa Tearers or whatever their names are, the white supremacist guy. And we have Chase Infinity and the other car, going back and forth between all three of these guys. The tension's building. I really do think One Pile After Another is probably going to take editing home. I do have Sinners in second place and F1 in third place, and I do think those are probably the biggest competitors. I think a lot of people are thinking F1 could maybe take this home, get a double win with best sound. I'm hoping One Battle After Another does take it home because I do love One Battle After Another. I think the editing is very strong in that film. Another passion for mine would be Sentimental Value because I do think the editing in Sentimental Value is so strong. I love all the different kind of like montage scenes, a lot of the different flashback scenes, specifically the scene with Stellan Skarsgård's character and how we go through his life and learning his backstory about like his mother and his sister and growing up in the home and seeing how the home transforms through their different generations and how Stellan Skarsgård's characters is able to kind of build this into his family home, and then it kind of deteriorates, and then I really do think that's a really great edited scene. I also think the face scene where all like Stellan and Renata and Inga are all like molding together, really fascinating with that editing as well. I'd even say like the opening is pretty cool with the editing and how she's having like her nervous breakdown with her stage fright before going on. I think that's really interesting and intriguing too. So I love Sentimental Value and I think it's really fantastic with its editing too. But I think One Bell After Another is probably going to take this category home. Best cinematography, for the longest time I had Train Dreams in first place, and I really wanted it to be the winner because I love Train Dreams. I only got to watch it once. I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze in another viewing before Sunday, even though I really wanted to watch all the best pictures at least twice this year. Didn't get around to all of them. But I moved Sinners for Autumn into first just because she has such a strong narrative and I really do think it's her time. I do think the cinematography is very strong in Sinners as well. Obviously, the whole I Lied to You scene montage with the dancing and the different generations and cultures that we're seeing here in this jukebox joint, very, very impressive. We go back all the way to March with Ryan Coogler talking about the IMAX different ratios. Who's doing that? It is Autumn with the cinematography. So I think it's probably going to be Autumn. So that's why I moved her into first place over Aldolfo for Train Dreams, even though I was hoping it would go to Aldolfo because I really do love Train Dreams cinematography, but I won't be disappointed if it ends up going to Autumn for Sinners. Another lock is for Best Animated Feature, K-pop Demon Hunters. Gonna go hand in hand with Song. Really don't think anything has the possibility to be the winner other than K-pop Demon Hunters, even though I think all of these films are pretty strong. I really love Arco, really love Little Amelie, really love Elio, and I even liked Zootopia too. That one was alright. Thought it was fun. I do like Nick Wilde quite a lot. I'm one of those girlies. He's I don't even remember watching Zootopia 1. I think I watched it when it first came out, but Zootopia 2, yeah. I understand, girlies. I understand the Nick Wilde craze, okay? So, definitely going to be K-pop Demon Hunters, but for best documentary feature, a lot of people have The Perfect Neighbor in first place. I'm keeping it in there just because I feel like that's been the one that we've been hearing about the most. I've been hearing a lot of people a little bit over the last couple of days talk about the Alabama Solution, which is personally my favorite out of all of these. And I also really like Come See Me in the Good Light as well, but I don't think that one has a good chance of winning. I feel like they were probably going to pick more of a serious subject, and I would choose the Alabama Solution because I think that one has a really strong message and strong narrative, and I do think it's intriguing how they were able to investigate this through like breaking the law technically with contraband phones. So I do love that. I think that one should win. I think The Perfect Neighbor does have an interesting angle as well, as it's using all body footage, but we did have a documentary short last year, or like a live action short last year, that was all body cam footage as well, and like CTV footage too. So a similar angle. So it's not like new, if I'm being honest. But I do think The Perfect Neighbor probably will win. But you never know. Like the international body, maybe Mr. Nobody against Putin will be able to push through. If the whole war with Iran had started just a couple days earlier, like I don't know, it did happen on Saturday, right? So it was not closed yet. Just because Cutting Through Rocks is about like Iranian women and having like trying to be able to move past what society expects of you and to move forward. I'm just thinking about like the world, and like last year with like the Los Angeles fires, like that was a really big narrative pushing point and helped with voting and stuff. So I don't think Cutting Through Rocks is probably going to have much of an increase due to what's going on in the world right now, but I just think that's always a relevant thing to talk about. But I would say Perfect Neighbor, Mr. Nobody against Putin, and the Alabama Solutions are probably the three strongest. Probably the Perfect Neighbor, and that's what I have in first place. But I would give it to the Alabama Solution if I was going to award it. And right before we came on here, I switched my best international feature. For the longest time, I had The Secret Agent in there because I really do think Brazil is a really strong voting body after we saw them last year with I'm Still Here. But I feel like Sentimental Value does have the strongest narrative, does have a really strong campaign, even though I have been seeing Wagner Moura around quite a bit, and Kleber Filio, the director, does campaign quite a lot and is posting on social media all the time. So again, like I won't be too surprised, if they end up saying The Secret Agent. I'll be a little upset that I moved Sentimental Value in instead, but I'm gonna go with the crowd, and I do think it has a little teeny bit of a stronger narrative. Yohem has been, kind of been talked about before, like the worst person in the world. So I'm gonna put Sentimental Value in first place as the winner. And I might regret this later, but I have Sentimental Value there. Best casting, I'm going to put Sinners just because they've won Best Theatrical Box Office. They won Ensemble at Golden Globes and Critics' Choice and SAG. So I really think they are going to take it home. And One Battle After Another is definitely a close follow up, but I'm going to put Sinners as the winner of Best Casting, the first ever winner for this new category. I definitely think is going to be Sinners. I do think they have the most ensemble of all, and I do think they have very interesting kind of like how they went about with some like older actors like Delroy Lindo. He's been in the biz for a long time. We have some more prominent mainstream actors like Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. So yeah, I'm very interested to see, but do you think One Bell After Another has some really great notable names as well? I do think it's a really cool ensemble, and it's kind of bigger than just like the notable names. Like we have all these other side supporting characters. So One Battle After Another may give them a run for their money, but I have Sinners in first place. All right, we're gonna get into the screenplay for adapted screenplay. One Battle After Another. Nobody else has taken this home. Hamnet, Frankenstein. Sorry, guys, you guys might be very notable pieces of work, but what PTA did with My Battle After Another and adapting it from that book, I can't remember what it's called. I'm blanking on what it's called, but I definitely think this is going to be the winner, and I confidently can say Sinners is going to be the winner for Best Original Screenplay as well. Ryan Coogler is getting his Oscar one way or another, and I definitely think he's going to be Best Original Screenplay. I think Sentimental Value is in a close second place, and I would be very happy if Jafar Panahi, magically gets this, but I definitely think it's going to Ryan Coogler, and I won't be upset because I do love Ryan Coogler, and I think this is so worthy. I love the story. I think it's so imaginative. Obviously, he's taking from some other works like Dusk from Dawn, and it's just so cool. I just love it, and very, very worthy, both of these screenplay nominees, original and adapted. Very hopeful for these wins for them. And this brings us into our acting. So, Best Supporting Actor, I'm going with Sean Penn after his win at SAG and at BAFTA, despite him not making a speech at either of them. I do think he is the strongest because he does have probably the strongest movie compared to Delroy Lindo, even though I do think Sinners is a really strong film. I do think Delroy Lindo hasn't won anything, and despite him making speeches at SAG and at Golden Globes and at like he had everything that happened to him at the BAFTAs, he does have a really strong narrative. I'm still gonna put Sean Penn because he has been the winner and he does have guilds, and he was like the first runner up, or he was the first one out of the gate at the beginning of the season. We all thought he was going to win, and then back down when Jacob Elordi won Critics' Choice, and we had Benicio winning a lot of guilds, and we had Stellan Skarsgård win Golden Globe. But I do think Stellan and Benicio, and I think Sean's gonna take it. And I honestly would give it to Stellan or Benicio, in my personal opinion, because I do love their performances. I do think Jacob does a great job as well. I do think he's a little young um, compared to these guys. They're seasoned professionals. And I am sad that it might not go to Stellan just because he's been working for such a long time. And Sean has too, but this is going to be his third Oscar if he wins. And I don't know. I respect that he doesn't hold these awards like so high esteem. You know, like awards aren't the end all that be all, but I do think it's a little rude that you don't go to the awards ceremonies, and like I don't think you necessarily have to make a big long-winded speech, but I do think it's a little respectful to the people who like voted for you to go, and also for the fans and stuff like that. Thank them and thank your director and the people who helped you get this role. So I don't know. We'll see what happens on Oscar night. I do think it's going to go to Sean. Best supporting actress. This is hard, guys. I'm putting Amy Madigan. We're gonna try and keep this short and sweet. I moved her right after her SAG win. I did have Tiana Taylor in for quite a while after her Golden Globe win. Because when we're looking at this, Tiana Taylor, she does have the strongest movie. So when in doubt, we go for the strongest movie, right? But I do think Amy Madigan, like, she has Critics' Choice and she has SAG. And when we look at the past SAG winners and past Oscar winners, they always have the SAG. The only person is Regina King, I believe, in quite some time, is the only one who didn't have a SAG win and won the Oscar. So yeah, and then of course Wimi Masako, she won BAFTA, and quite often when you have the BAFTA, locks you for the win at the Oscar. So this is so hard. I feel bad for the sentimental value girlies, Elle and Inga, because they are so strong in their film as well. Both of them give such dynamic performances, but I'm gonna go with Amy Madigan, and I don't know if this is a bad prediction, but I did watch Oscar Science with um Ryan Kesselman, and by a very, very small margin, Amy Madigan is taking it home. And I'm just gonna go with it, and if it ends up being Tiana Taylor, then I'll be like, okay, I completely understand. If it ends up being Mimi Masako, I will be shocked, but kind of understand because of the Cineros wave and the BAFTA. But I think it's going to go to Amy Madigan, and I think it's going to be like a whole new Rosemary's Baby. And I think people are voting her for the legacy and for her speeches, for her notoriety, her campaigning, and just like incredible theatrical balls to the wall performance as Aunt Gladys. So I'm putting Amy Madigan, guys, and maybe this is a bad decision, but I think it's going to be a wild win, and I love that. Okay, I think supporting actress is hard. Leading actor is hard, guys. Before this video, I had Timothy Chalamet in. Even after Michael B. Jordan's win at SAG, I still have been so hesitant just because Michael B. has nothing. He just has SAG, and Timothy hasn't been on stage in a while. And even though Oscar voting closed before the viral comments from his um, CNN, like Matthew McConaughey town hall. I think it was a Harvard. I did watch half of that. Like, I just think it's so crazy because when that came out, it came out in February. Like, it came out like almost like 2, 3 weeks ago. I watched half of it and I really didn't like the conversation and what they just kept talking about Interstellar. They weren't talking about Marty Supreme, and it was starting to get on my nerves, honestly, both Matthew and both Timothy. And I'm a Timothy stan, and I also don't love what's going on with this. So I just think it's nuts that that soundbite went viral like almost 3 weeks later after it had been dropped. And like it did close, like voting was close. I think he'd already done his damage, but I just this is hard because I'm like, I wanted to be Michael B because I like Michael B. I think my favorite performance is probably Wagner Moura out of these nominated. And I really love Leo as well. And I love Michael B. I think he does so well. And like people are like, oh, whatever about Michael B. I'm like, he's doing two different roles and they are distinguished. Like, I don't think the twins are the same people. I think they're completely different people. And Smoke and Stack are so like completely different characters, and that's Michael B. And so I'm gonna be happy if he wins. I put him in first place because it seems like the majority of the people and the odds have heavily swapped in his favor. And I do think the Sinners surge, and I do think people really love him. And after his win at SAG, the roar that we heard from the audience, he has been in the biz for a really long time. His SAG speech, I think, could really push him forward with his humble nature and how he grew up and his mom driving him to his auditions. I compared to what Timothy has been doing and compared to his speech last year, which really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I loved his speech last year. I was up on my feet going, yeah! Like, I want more people to dedicate themselves to this art, and I do appreciate what Timothy does. I do think his ego is getting to him just a little bit, and I think this loss could be something good for him, you know? Keep him striving, keep him working hard, but maybe dial it back a little bit and learn to and mature, you know, past into his 30s. And Michael B, he's going to be 40, you know, he's 10 years to Timothy, you know? So yeah, this is a hard one, but I've moved Michael B into first place, and that's what I'm going to go with. Michael B. Jordan is going to take that Oscar home, guys. For best actors, this is easy. Jessie Buckley, she's won everything, so she's going to take this home. I think there is no possible other winner than Jessie Buckley. I do love all the other nominees in here as well. Specifically, I love honestly all of them. I would say Kate Hudson is like, I wished it was somebody else other than Kate Hudson. But I do think this is a fantastic performances from all these ladies, and Jessie Buckley is going to take her Oscar home, guys. So happy for her. And now this takes us to Best Director, which I'm keeping PTA and for One Battle After Another. I do think it's the strongest film. Am I gonna regret this? Am I gonna regret it? Is it going to go to Ryan Coogler? But PTA, they have PGA and they have DGA. Like, and they've won Golden Globe, they won Critics' Choice. Like, the only thing they don't have is SAG Ensemble, and they're gonna take it. I think they're still gonna take it, and I think people want to give PTA this win, and I think this is his most masterful and most epic scale film of to date. I haven't seen The Master, which I know is a big favorite for a lot of people, but I do think it's going to go to Paul Thomas Anderson for Best Director, and for Best Picture, I'm keeping in One Battle After Another. I think it's going to go to One Battle After Another. Again, I do think this is probably the most epic grossing, and I do think it is a little bit more serious compared to Sinners, even though I do think Sinners is so multifaceted and all the different layers and the nuances with like the racial, social issues in there, not just like for Black people in America, but also the Asian people in America. I think all of that is just so nuanced and done so well, interwoven with this vampire story, the whole jukebox slaughterhouse reveal. Like, I do think Sinners is such a highbrow dynamic film, and I don't think it's just a vampire blockbuster film. I think Ryan Coogler thought this film so smartly, and I would be very happy if they won. I want Sinners to win. It's my personal favorite film from 2025. One Fell After Another closely in second place. I both think these are 5-star films, and they get better with multiple watches. And this is really hard as well, just because I think Sinners is again riding that high after SAG and those couple days that they had for open voting. Maybe it's going to push it over the edge, but I'm going to keep One Battle After Another in, and that's going to be my final prediction for the 2026 Oscars, guys. Oh my goodness, we did it. We did every single category. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's March, and I am locking in my final Oscar predictions for the 2026 season. I want to hear your predictions down below in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to win Best Picture, Best Director. Let me know your acting predictions as well. Let me know anything. I'd love to hear it in the conversation down below. Let's get it started. If you guys love my content, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and post notification button so you don't miss out on any time I post. We have Oscars on Sunday. I will be doing a reaction discussion video, kind of wrap up, and I will be doing some other videos, you know, related to maybe the award season just after. But I do think we will probably be wrapping up with my awards season content content and moving into some other movies, some other videos that I would like to get to as well, get a little bit more creative, but don't think I'm going to forget awards because we will get into it as well. Festival season has already been off with Sundance in Berlin, and we're going to South by Southwest very, very soon. And I'll be on the ground at TIFF in September. So make sure you're subscribed, have post notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of my future content. And while you're at it, please engage in all my other social media platforms. I'm not just here on YouTube, I'm also on Letterboxd, Serialized, Instagram, TikTok, the Awards Expert app, all at Willow D Steele to make it super easy for you guys to find me. Please give me some love and follow me on those accounts. And while you're at it, give me some love here on this video and like it. And like I said, start our conversation down below. I would love to hear all of your guys' predictions. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel and supporting all my other social media platforms. It really helps other people to engage and grow my platforms and help me to have other people join my cinema loving community. So thank you so much for all of the consistent support. It is really heartwarming to see other cinema loving people here. So thank you so much. And until my next video, keep getting lost in film, guys. Bye.